Hello there and welcome to another edition of Football Everyday, coming to you live and direct from the studios here at Studio V at Wanutama. Hello there, I am Zack, and in the studio with me we got the usual suspect, fresh from European exploits, Shebby Singh, Nelsen Ng. Hello lads.
Hello.
Hi Zack.
Another show, another week. Well, anyway, this week, later on in the show, we're going to have a very special guest. She's a female football fan, she supports Liverpool, but we're going to forgive that. Get her on the show and she's going to talk to us about her love of the game. Also, just a reminder to all you guys who've been entering our Gunning for Glory contest. Tomorrow is the last day for you guys to submit your entries to win that very excellent trip to the Emirates. So get entering right straight into the chat right now. Boys, Champions League action this week was very tasty indeed. Once again, we saw the English clubs triumphing. 4 more English clubs progressed to the quarterfinals. Second year running. So Shebby, mate, can anyone beat the English clubs in Europe?
Not at the moment. I think I have to go back to 3 months ago when the draw was made, and I thought, England versus Italy. At that time, if the games had been played, I would have at least picked Roma and Inter to go through, because they were playing extremely well, no injury worries and all that. But in the space of 2.5, 3 months, things can change. Inter were very, very poor against Man United. Juventus tried. Roma didn't seem too bothered whether they qualified or not. I mean, they beat Arsenal at home, but they lost on penalties. We all know that. But I didn't see that intensity that the English clubs can bring. I know people are going to argue that they are English clubs only in name, but they bring with them their traditional style of football, high tempo, with intensity, and I think that is the kind of football that makes us love the English Premier League.
Well, obviously, the result of the Champions League action this week came from Anfield, where Liverpool hammered the not-so-mighty Real Madrid 4-0. I mean, as preparations go for like the big game on Saturday, which we will be previewing later on in the show, I mean, that's the best kind of preparation, isn't it, Shebby?
It is. I mean, what is interesting is not only the way Liverpool played against Real Madrid. I mean, it was a demolition. They could have done worse. It could have done worse damage to Real. And then, it is the league game. It's at Old Trafford, and I'm sure Claryn will help us find the answers as to why Rafa panics in the Premier League. But if you have a team playing that brand of football, free-flowing, attacking football, scoring goals for fun, stick with it. And I thought, perhaps of all the English teams, I thought Liverpool's performance was the most comprehensive.
Yeah, definitely the standout result of the Champions League action this week. Well, as I mentioned earlier, 4 English clubs in the quarterfinals for the second year running. One of them obviously includes the mighty Man United. Nelson, you must be very happy with the job they did against a very disappointing Inter, I must say.
Inter were disappointing, but they had a few chances. They did give Man U a few nervy moments. In the first half especially. But I think that's what differentiates good teams and potential champions from not. Because Inter just didn't take the chances. I mean, people like Zlatan disappointed. Adriano. I mean, look. I mean, Man U scored 2 headers out of nowhere. One from a corner, one from a brilliant Rooney cross, and the ball just hits the net.
You look at Man United, Nelson, and they play the Man United way. This is how we're going to play. Now, if you look at Inter and you think, what is the Inter style of play? What is Inter's concept of play? I thought, I've always thought they are overrated, and their players, they might have big name players, but they're not superstar players, not players who can decide the outcome of a game. So I'm glad that Inter are out of the competition, and I don't have to hear about Jose Mourinho and him being that great. I don't think he was great. I don't think he's changed Inter not even 1% from the Inter that Roberto Mancini left behind. So Jose, your job, your reputation is still on the line.
No more.
Well, lads, we're gonna leave Liverpool and United, because obviously we're gonna be talking about them in depth later on. But just before we head to the break, I want to have a little mention about Chelsea and Arsenal. Out of them two, were you impressed with their performance in Champions League?
I was impressed with their resilience. I mean, both the clubs had difficult games away from home. Chelsea obviously had a bigger attacking threat, and Giorgio Chiellini getting sent off was a big plus for them. And Arsenal, for me, will get better than what they were against Roma. So I think teams are coming into their peak now towards the end of the season.
Okay, brilliant, lads. good timing because we're going to head for a break. But when we come back, we're going to meet our female fans. So keep it right here on Football Every Day. Hello there and welcome back to Football Everyday. Okay, right now we're going to take some time to talk to our very lovely female football fan. She's taking the time out to come here and talk to us about the trials and tribulations of being a female football fan in Malaysia. Her name is Claryn Choong. Hello, mate.
Hello.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Right, I guess we have to kick this off with me asking you, which club do you support? Because I am blind and I can't see that you're wearing a Liverpool shirt.
It says here Liverpool.
Right. Why Liverpool, Claryn? And how long have you supported the club?
I've supported the club since about 2003, like right after the World Cup, 2002.
Right.
And the reason why I supported Liverpool is because everybody started supporting Man U because they are winning, and it's a bandwagon thing, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone supports Man U, so I want to be somebody different. So
Right.
I went with Liverpool.
You could have supported Spurs.
Yeah, Liverpool aren't exactly on the
Different
radar.
as well, right?
But anyway, I mean, it's great that you've got a big passion for football. I mean, do you find that, like, you know, when you talk to your male friends, do they give you some sort of attitude, like, you know, maybe you don't know as much as your male colleagues or friends and that? And how do you react to this kind of a treatment then?
Not really, because most of the time when I speak to them, they know that I'm a girl, so they don't go all the way back to those technical stuff, you know, like the formation. I mean,
because a lot of men are cavemen, you know. We think we know everything about football, you know, and then along comes a girl, and we're like, what does she know?
yeah, I get a lot of stuff like that.
But I think more importantly is, Claryn, you know, how do your girlfriends react to you being a
good
football
question.
fan?
When I first started out as a fan, they keep asking me why football. You know, it's just 11 men fighting for a ball, and it's not even fun. It's been 2 hours, and it's a 2 hours game thing. But I think as the years go by, you know, especially with the World Cup, the Euro, then they realize that, you know, it's not that bad after all. They don't support, but they don't give.
So do you like only make it a point to catch Liverpool games, or do you watch, you know, football in general?
I watch football in general. I love the goals. You know, the episode where they just show all the goals. Oh, that's my favorite.
That's cool.
Especially Man United goals, right?
I would think that if Man U plays well, I give them credit for it. Yeah.
And Claryn, I mean, you know, the question here is, if you could sign any one player from Man United for Liverpool, who would you sign?
I would sign Ronaldo.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yes.
Really?
I think it's the same.
Like a true scouser there.
We would sign Steven Gerrard. Right.
Yeah.
But you know, Claryn, I mean, what intrigues me is like your gaming experience. Do you go out to watch the game with your girlfriends, and what is that like? How do you watch the games?
When big matches like Liverpool, Man U, Liverpool, Chelsea, I try to go out with my friends if it's not too late, because being a girl, you know, my mom wouldn't like if I go out too late. But if it's like 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock match, I would go out with my guy friends, and sometimes I bring some of my girlfriends along, and most of the time, you know, when Man U scores a goal, and I would get a lot of all these taunting and stuff like that. But it's fun. It's fun.
Prepare to be taunted this Saturday.
Well, you know, just before we go for a break, I remember when we were first talking about your allegiance for Liverpool. You said that one of your ambitions is to go to Anfield, right? You see that happening in the very near future?
Yes.
Maybe we can sort you out with a ticket.
That would be great, but yes.
Because Rafa calls me all the time. No, but you want to go to Anfield, right?
Yes, before I'm 25, and I want to go for a Champions League final also.
Wow,
Even if Liverpool are
brilliant,
not
No,
playing?
even if Liverpool's not playing.
Okay, that's good. And one question. Do I have time for one more
Of
question?
course, mate.
Claryn, would you marry a footballer?
Oh my gosh, that's like my lifelong dream, you know, like yes, I will. Yes.
Despite the fact that footballers are, you know, how they are like, you know, but so you would like to be a wag?
Yes.
You don't mind that?
No, I don't mind.
Great
She's a very brave girl.
Well, Claryn, you're gonna stick around for the third segment, because you're gonna help us preview like the massive game that's happening this weekend, which is of course your beloved Liverpool against your arch rivals, the Manx. But just before we go to the break, We just want to remind you about the Gunning for Glory contest. And you know what? I'm going to pass the ball to Nelson on this one.
Thanks, Zach. That's right. Tomorrow is your final day to submit your entries for the Gunning for Glory contest. This is your last chance to win a great trip to the Emirates to catch Arsenal versus Chelsea live. So tomorrow, March 13, Friday, 6 p.m. is your deadline, to send in your entries either by hand, by mail, or by email to football@thestar.com.my.
Okay, fantastic. So thank you very much, Nelson. Right now we're going to take a little break, but when we come back, the big preview of the big match. So keep it right here on Football Every Day. Hello there, welcome back to Football Everyday. We're in the studio with the usual suspects from Football Everyday crew and also our very lovely guest, Miss Claryn Choong. She's a Liverpool fan. She's going to help us preview the big match this weekend. What's the big match this weekend? Well, if you've been living on Mars, you won't know this, but everyone else does. It's Man United versus Liverpool at Old Trafford. Sheb, mate, yesterday, United played Inter. The 2-0 scoreline seems to suggest that it was easy for them, but really Inter caused them a few bit of problems. You reckon if they play like that, can Liverpool cause them any trouble?
I think on the performance against Inter Milan, and I'm sure Nelson will agree, despite him supporting Man United, I mean, Liverpool will have a chance.
Yeah.
I thought in certain areas I was not happy. I wasn't happy with Ryan Giggs and Scholes being selected together, because I think together, they can be a liability, and true enough, Inter Milan controlled midfield, so much so that Sir Alex Ferguson had to get Rooney to play as a left midfielder to make it 5 in the middle. I think they were a bit hesitant. I thought Ferdinand and Vidic perhaps could have commanded the back line better. And I'm looking at Fernando Torres' form against Real Madrid and thinking if the game was played today, I think I would fancy Torres to get a goal or two, because he's really
coming back into form
now.
Okay. Well, Nelson, I'll get to you later, Claryn. I know you're chomping at the bit. But Nelson, I want to ask you this, right? United, Old Trafford. I mean, they seem to have a psychological edge there. I mean, they rarely get beat at home. Can you see that happening this weekend?
I think, one is, I'm sure revenge is going to be on Ferguson's mind. I mean, they lost 2-1 at Anfield earlier on in the season. And while maybe United could afford even a draw, won't do United bad, as they've got a 7-point lead. But I think Ferguson will put out a team, to beat Liverpool. But I mean, to give credit to Liverpool, I watched the goals against Real Madrid and they were awesome. But I think question coming now from everyone is, look, why can't they put in a performance like that week in, week out, in the Premier League?
Well, maybe Claryn can clear up the enigma that is Rafa Benitez. I think Shebby alluded to this earlier on the show. Why does Rafa panic when it comes to the Premier League, Claryn, you reckon, as a fan,
I think because we have not won this for like 20 years, so the pressure of getting this title is very big, so much bigger than Champions League, FA Cup and the rest. And so each time when they play, even small teams, they get very scared, and I watched them play a couple of games, and by the time they go to the penalty box, they just get very scared and they lose the ball to the defenders.
What is your opinion about Rafa Benitez? I mean, I know it's not so much a divided opinion anymore. I think a lot of Liverpool fans who I meet are not happy with Rafa anymore, because you realize that it's wasted potential. You had a potential to win the league. So what are your personal thoughts about Rafa?
If you ask me honestly, I'm not happy with Rafa too. I mean, talking about the mind games, every time in the newspaper, in the beginning he says that we can win the Champions League, the EPL title and stuff like that. But as he goes on, he said, I remember there was one article that says that getting second is good enough. that really pissed me off.
That's not the Liverpool way, really, is
yes.
it? Yeah. Well, I mean, guys and girls, I mean, he's been very bullish in the press after the Madrid win. Shebby, I mean, with good reason, I guess. I mean, 4-0 is, like I said, great preparation.
It is. I mean, over the two legs, they were so much better.
Yeah, comprehensive is the word for a 5-0 victory, right?
I know. I try to stay clear of the word, but But with Rafa Benitez, there's always a but. Come Saturday, what will Rafa's thinking be? That is the only problem. I mean, I picked Liverpool to win the title start of the season. By January, title challenge was over, and it's down to one man. Is he going to be brave enough? I think he should be brave enough. I mean, there's only 10 matches left in the league now. Just go for every game.
Well, this is a game Liverpool surely must win. I mean, if they are to retain any hope of catching Man United. All right, lads, we're going to wrap this up. But before we wrap, I guess I'm going to have to ask you, Nels, mate, a bit of a score prediction, please.
Narrow win for United, 1-0.
1-0, huh? It's going to be a tight one.
Got to ask Shebby this very quickly as well. Shebby, are your beloved Spurs going to beat Aston Villa on Sunday?
No. I think Aston Villa are well rested. I thought their form was patchy, but they've had this long break now. They'll come back regenerated. So, unfortunately, I think we're going to lose.
All right, well, that's all the time we have. I just want to say thank you very much, Claryn, for coming on the show. You are more than welcome to come back anytime. I hope Liverpool will put up a good show this weekend. Just for you. Right?
Thank you.
Well, this is Football Every Day. Until next week, we shall see you at the same time, same place. Until then, ciao.